Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Elite Raceway. We are here with our Tier 2 group, and yes, it is looking like a small grid. However, it is the finale here for Season 6. So, yeah, some of these drivers already choosing to take the day off, already starting the break early. We do have quite a few drivers who are still currently in the battle for a title. But give me one second as I just make sure the YouTube channel is up. All right, perfect. So, yes, as I mentioned, this is to your group today for the season finale here in Shanghai International Circuit here in China. So, yeah, it's been quite an incredible season. Big respects to a lot of these drivers who have shown up quite often throughout this whole season. I think this is actually the first race we ever have less than 15 drivers. So, as I mentioned, it's not totally surprising. It is the last race of the season. So, uh, yeah, we have still quite a few battles I expect to see, and I do want to give a shout out to one of our new drivers, PS Keon. I will just name him. We'll name him Keon, who is debuting today here for Tier 2. So best of luck to him. Hopefully he does enjoy the racing, and yeah, hopefully we see him again next season. But yeah, we already have a couple of drivers who are currently on an outlap, starting to close in on the line. I will keep an eye here on Untradeable Teammate, but. Yeah, it is raining as we can see, and I'm curious to know if it's actually going to be raining only for the qualifying session or also for the race. If any of our drivers can let us know on the chat. I do believe our weatherman Guardians hasn't mentioned anything yet. I think he's still processing the rain. But anyways, we do have Untradeable Teammate who is about to start his lap time, so we'll keep an eye on him. I do believe we have the Aston Martin of Hafrenix who is about to start his, yes. We do see him there, and so yeah, Untradeable Teammate, man, it's not the easiest track to drive in the rain, as we can see already on the onboard with the V carb here. Oof, and a little bit of a wiggle. But yeah, anyways, regarding our drivers' championship, so we have Mahasne in the Haas. Both of our drivers present today. Actually, it looks like Mahasne. Actually, there he is. Mahasne is there. Yeah, so Mahasna in the has done an incredible job this whole season. Has tried staying out of trouble. Has a total of 314 points. Has quite a comfortable gap, I would say, 34 points gap ahead of his rival Kyle, who stands at 280 points. So yeah, Mahasna with the chance to actually win the championship title here today. I do believe this is his first official season. I believe he started halfway through last season 5. So yeah, so Mahazna with a really good chance to secure a title. We'll be updating the race throughout or the standings and the points as the race progresses. But considering there are only 13 drivers, Mahazna is really his only way of winning the championship today is actually just scoring points, staying within the 13 positions, not retiring from the session. Um, and that's even if Kyle wins and actually gets the fastest lap as well. So, which is would be a 39 points gain right there. But Untradeable Teammate who cross the line puts in a 149.5. Looks like Hafnix actually did much better, a 147.9. And we already have Kyle who has put in a 146.7. And I do believe Mahazna is currently on a hot lap as well. And if I'm not mistaken, Kyle had actually raced in Tier 1, and I do believe somebody has pinged me, and as Gigogoon. So, yeah, so we do have one retirement currently that is Gigogoon. Unfortunately, he is serving a qualifying ban, so we'll be having to start from the back, but considering it is only 13 drivers, that might actually not even be a problem for him. But let's see, we do have Mahazna over here in Sector 3 has plenty of battery here to use for the straight. And I did want to take a quick look at Kyle's qualifying time in Tier 1. And so yeah, Kyle put in a 132.3. So I do believe it wasn't raining as bad. I think it did dry up a little bit on the qualifying session, but looking at Mahazna, who's going to cross the line, is going to put in a 147.1. So just less than half a second off from Kyle. I do believe these two were actually comparing their qualifying times earlier today in the Discord chat. But we do have another top driver who has been in the front quite a few times this whole season, and that is Buddha, who I'll definitely give him his respects, has done an incredible job this season. And so Buddha, who is going to cross the line, puts in a 147.0. That pushes Mahazna down a position. And speaking of Buddha, we do have a 3-car battle in terms of the Constructors' Championship. So we have the Williams team, that is Buddha and Hulkenbrough, who have held the Williams for with a total of 355 points. We do have the Haas, that is Mahazna here today. Unfortunately, Eingel not here to race. That is 14 points behind of the Williams, and 5 points behind of the Haas. We have the Alpine team, and that is Omamashan and Guardians. So yeah, I think unfortunately the Haas in a tight position, they're having to rely on Mahazna's points, but the Williams and the Alpine looking quite strong to secure some points, especially since our point system is as long as you finish the race. And let's see if anybody else is currently putting in a lap time. We do have the return of High RPM, who, from what I heard from Mahazna, actually likes this track. I've seen quite a few different opinions regarding this track. And I do see we have Game Boy in the live chat as well. So big hello to you, sir. I do believe it's like 2 in the morning for you. And actually looks like, according to our Weatherman Guardians, it's actually going to be a dry race. So most likely the majority of these drivers opting for a... Actually, no, they have Park Firm off. So they can actually... see you, Game Boy. Yeah, so considering Park Firm is off, they have the ability to adjust their setup. So, of course, they can use a setup for the rain here and then switch it up for the race, for the dry race. So very fortunate for them. Unlike divisions, our no-assist divisions, who have Park Firm on, so they aren't able to change anything. Let's see, we do have Mahazna, who looks like it was more of a banker lap before, is actually up on his time, and has actually put in a purple second sector. So we do have Hafnix. Ooh, it looks like Mahazna struggling a little bit to get down on the throttle, but we'll be able to see what he's able to put in. But Hafnix, who is currently holding provisional pole, 146.4. We do have Kyle, who is currently on an outlap, about 0.2 off from Hafnix, but keeping an eye here on Mahazna, who is our championship leader at the moment, who is most likely looking to start on pole position to get a better getaway from his rival Kyle. Oof, as I say that, Mahazna going a tad bit wide right there, but is going to put in a 146.3. So a 10th away from Hafnix and holding provisional pole at the moment. So considering a few mistakes, a really great job from Mahazna there, and most likely a chance to improve as well in the next upcoming qualifying time. But we do have Kyle, our rival here for Mahazna, who is currently starting on a lap. And looking at the standings, we do want to compare their performances between Kyle and Mahazna. Both of them have done really well. I do believe Kyle did actually miss one race. but so did Mahazna. So both of these drivers missing one race. However, Kyle did have one retirement. So yeah, an amazing job from Kyle uh, to still be able to contest for that championship title. And yes, I do see Game Boy also mentioning on the live chat exactly what I mentioned earlier regarding Mahazna. All he has to do is actually finish in the top 15, and in this case, just finish the race, considering there's only 13 drivers here. But we do have Kyle who is finishing up a lap, and I do see we have Variable Zeus in the live chat. Who actually, big welcome to you, both in the Discord server and the YouTube channel. And for those who aren't aware, Variable Zeus did sign up for our tier 2, so hopefully we can see more of him here on the track, and hopefully in the future see him as a full-time driver. No pressure though. But let's see, we do have Kyle who is about to cross the line and is going to put in a 1:45.8, and that is going to steal away that pole position from Mahazne. We do have less than 6 minutes left in the qualifying session. We have, I do believe, Keon has just finished his lap. And Keon, even for a small group, establishing himself quite well. 147.2. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what he's able to do for the race. But keeping an eye here on High RPM, who is finishing up in Sector 2. We'll see here with the Delta if he's able to improve. He's actually improved by 9/10, almost a second. And I do see we have yellow flags, although I do think that is the V-carb of Untradeable Teammate. Or actually might be the Red Bull of Room. But anyways, keeping an eye here on the McLaren of High RPM, who is reserving today for the team. I do believe this is actually the first race High RPM joins in for this season. Having started off, actually no, it did start off on the McLaren, then backed out. And anyways, as he goes here on the final corner, High RPM is going to cross the line and is going to put in a 1:46.6. That puts him up into P4. And I do see on the live chat we have Best Ninja asking how many weeks for the next season. So between seasons, it usually varies. However, for season 7, we will be. The fact that I don't have this memorized. Looking at my announcement, it is going to be starting on March 2nd. So that is in about 3 weeks. So if you're interested, feel free to sign up. We are looking for new drivers, both experienced and beginners as well. And ooh, looks like Guardians has actually backed out on his time. So let's see, we'll keep a look at anybody else. Kyle actually appears to be putting in another lap. Actually puts in a first purple sector. But we do have Hafrenix who is struggling a little bit there on the steering, and anyway, he catches the car quite well. So it's not an easy track in terms of traction. I know if you're watching for the first time, both our divisions and our tiers, they run with no traction control on. So all these drivers having to rely on pure skill to actually keep the car stable and avoid any spins. But we have seen incredible improvement, for example, from Hulkenbro, who started off not knowing not knowing how to drive without traction control, but somehow has managed to put himself in quite a battling position this whole season. Oh, and I see. Okay, best ninja is actually Arrow, so confusing me here with the names. And Kyle actually putting in a 1:44.4, so holding provisional pole at the moment. We do have Mahazna who does appear to have invalidated. And Hafrenix, who was struggling a little bit there on the first sector, looks to have backed out from continuing on that lap. it looks like our only driver at the moment putting in a time, that appears to be Hulkenberg in the Williams. And we'll take a look at anybody else if they are putting in a lap as well. I don't think... Actually, it looks like Mama Shan is going to be starting one soon. Shan, who has been... who said he is a man on a mission for this race. And it looks like Hulkenberg actually backed out from that time. Actually, no, Hulkenberg, who is up by 2/10, it appears. And if he is, that can move him up a few positions there past Guardians. So both of these two, Guardians and Hulkenberg, in the battle for the constructors. So having to make sure they are able to secure some points for the team. Because as we mentioned before, points do go from first to last as long as you finish the race or complete at least 95% of the race, I believe it is today. Or usually. Well, looks like we do have Hulkenberg, who is looking to finish up a lap. Does have plenty of battery here to use on the straight and is going to put in a 147.5. Looks like he does improve by 9/10, so he did gain plenty of time there on the last sector. So up into 8th for Hulkenberg. And looking at our top drivers, we do have Hafrenix, who appears to be finishing up soon. Mahazny, who is just starting his, but looking at Hafrenix, and Justin Valden going wide there on the final corner. That would have got him past Mahazny. Looks like we have Untradeable Teammate, who has just now put in a 145.7. So Kyle in a really good position, 144.8 to hold a provisional pole. We have Mahazny here up by 4/10, finishing up in Sector 2. Trying to get that throttle in, and we'll be able to see what Mahazny is able to do here on the final couple seconds here for qualifying. But either way, Mahazny, even if he has to start on third in the second row, a really good position for him as long as he's tailing right behind of Kyle. But Obama Shan actually just crossing the line, puts in a 144.5, puts himself right next to his French friend Kyle. But we do have Mahazny, who is about to cross the line and is going to put in a 145.4, and so puts him right behind of Kyle. And Kyle actually improving even further, 144.0. So Mahazny is going to have a really good view of Kyle there for the start. Mama Shan is going to be right there alongside him. But it looks like Untradeable Teammate is looking to improve even further. It did look like he was up on his time here, handling the tight chicane of China. And actually does really well to get the throttle down. So yeah, we'll be able to see what he's able to improve on. And Bozo actually mentioned Kyle's just flexing here. And Untradeable Teammate actually invalidating. And that actually would have been a really good time though. But it looks like that is going to be our starting grid. Buddha out of nowhere actually putting himself there in the front row, a 144.4. So that pushes down Omar Shan and Mahazny and everybody else. So Buddha, another one, a man on a mission, as we mentioned, in terms of the Constructors' Championship. So really good position here for from Buddha and Omar Shan actually as well. And so let me just get the reminder to not ready up. Alrighty, so let me just send this up here. So starting on pole position, we have Kyle with a phenomenal lap time, 144.0. Sharing the front row, we have Buddha. In third, we have Omar Shan. Fourth, Mahazny, Untradeable Teammate. Fifth, Keon. Sixth, Hafrenix. Seventh, High RPM. Eighth, Hulkenberg. Ninth, Vroom. 10th. Guardians 11th, Iparazu 12th, and Gigogun, who unfortunately had to serve his qualifying ban in 13, but considering it's a 13 driver grid, it should be quite easy for him to climb up, considering he does have incredible pace. But yeah, we do have about 3 to 5 minutes break, and I did hear somebody call me, so give me one good second. Alrighty, so yes, as I mentioned, we do have about 3 to 5 minutes break just to make sure all of our drivers are able to secure their setups, adjust any fuels, any tweaks to their strategy. And so yeah, we'll be starting soon shortly. They do have formation lap on, so they will be having that extra lap to warm up those tires. And in terms of the strategy, I already see quite a number of drivers already opting for the hard compounds, which considering safety cars are quite rare, although we have seen them before. I do believe Tier 1 had a virtual safety car. Game Boy could probably confirm that for me. But yeah, considering there is a lot of runoff and it is a small grid, safety cars uh, most likely going to be low probability. So yeah, I think for the reverse strategy might be a good call in terms of going for the hards compounds and then switching over to the mediums. And I do just want to take a quick look at the Discord chat in case anybody has needs anything. And nope, all right, perfect. And yes, Game Boy actually confirming it was a virtual safety car for Tier 1. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how this race goes. As I mentioned, we do have Mahazen, who is our championship leader. Just has to make sure he secures a finish here today. Kyle, who has honestly done an incredible job this whole season to battle it out, and I do believe this might be his final season with us as well. So hopefully he has a good race here. And yeah, just a big reminder to all of our drivers. Good luck, have fun. Um, Big reminder in terms of turn one, well, the opening lap, but especially turn one, just please make sure to be sensible, uh, be extra cautious in terms of braking right behind of traffic. So yeah, we would like to avoid seeing drivers having been spun out in the first lap. But let me just go get the ready up. And yeah, Guardian saying best of luck to the Williams team. So fair game, but great sportsmanship between these two drivers, or actually these four drivers, considering it's a team of two. But they are going to be starting up soon, and we already hear the timer. So yeah, best as I mentioned, best of luck to all of our drivers here today. We appreciate you guys for joining in this whole season and here for the final race. And yeah, let's get this race going. So they do have, as I mentioned, formation lap on. Let me get all this information up. And yeah, looks like the top six opting for the hard compounds. We have about five drivers starting on the mediums, Halfernix, High RPM, Vroom, Guardians, and Gigglegoon. And Gigglegoon most likely looking to get some early overtakes, especially on those faster tires. Iparazu going to be a little bit slow on the start, considering it takes a while for those hard compounds to really kick in. So yeah, Gigglegoon looking to maximize some opportunity and possibly get a driver of the day. if he's able to finish on the podium. Did say last to first challenge. And also a little reminder, if you're watching for the first time, we do have our Gnosis Division 1 group racing in about 2 hours. That will be hosted by me again, La Rodri, with unfortunately Turtle Commander 7 not feeling so well. And so, yeah, looking forward to that race. I do see we have one of our Division 1 drivers, and that is Midi Tony in uh, the YouTube live chat. So, yeah, that is usually always another great group. And we'll be finishing up this season with our Gnosis Division 2 group on Wednesday. So, yeah, it has been an incredible season. As I mentioned before, we do appreciate all the drivers joining in, signing up, and yeah, looking forward to seeing what the next season brings. So they are closing up here on the lap, and and I like Mini Tony's suggestion regarding the regarding the name change. Yeah, these all these drivers, they call Mama Shan an untradeable teammate tend to, and Kyle tend to change up their names quite frequently. But anyways, we are now lining up here on the grid, just waiting for our last driver, and that is Gigagoon all the way there in the back. And we'll ride on board with Mahazne, considering he is our leader for the championship. And yeah, looks like we have 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and off they go. And can Mahazne have a really good start here? Ooh, a little bit of a wiggle there on trying to get the traction there on the start. And looks like Untradeable Teammate actually getting the overtake done. And looks like all the drivers, ooh, that is a driver going wide, and that is actually Gigagoon, who, as I mentioned, was looking to get the opportunities to get those overtakes done, and looks like has dropped back quite a bit, having gone wide there. But looks like we have a couple of action happening in the mid pack as well, and let's get these position changes going. Ooh, and I do see we have a 3 wide, and that is a McLaren sandwich. That appears to be Hafrenix. And we do have Buddha, who has, not exactly sure if there's contact or a little bit of a spin, but was there on the grass, and unfortunately dropping down 11 positions. And so Buddha all the way down at the bottom, but heads down. Anything could happen in this race, but looking at the mid pack, looks like everybody, yeah, just following right behind of each other, and that is Gigagoon looking to make an overtake there. And oh, that appears to be contact, I think, Vroom, and not exactly sure who was up there in the front. May have been Afronix, but not really good view there. But Gigagoon looking to make a move here on Hulkenbro, and can he get the move to stick? Hulkenbro defending that position, using up that battery to not let Gigagoon through. But is Gigagoon going to look for a move on the inside? Looks like no, is going to stay right behind. Actually looking to make the switch back. And actually gets it done up ahead. Hafrenix actually getting the move done on Keon as well. And so very unfortunate for Buddha, who lost quite a number of positions, but Omama Shan has moved up 1 untradeable teammate, 2 positions there. And I think the majority of the action has been happening in the mid pack. But as I mentioned, Mahazne, all he has to do is just finish the race. Even if Kyle does win and gets the extra 2 points for the fastest lap, and looks like Gigagoon looking to make the overtake, but Keon with an incredible defense to keep the Mercedes right behind. So Keon, as I mentioned, who is debuting today, and honestly has been putting a pretty good performance, but looks like Gigagoon is a man on a mission, and can he get the overtake done? We do have DRS enabled now on this lap, and quite a number of drivers actually within less than a second behind of each other. May actually have Oh Mama Shan closing in on the bag. Ooh, that's a little bit of a lockup right there. And as I did that, Gigagoon actually got the overtake done on Kion. So Gigagoon up 6 positions. But yeah, Shan going to have to be a little bit careful there in terms of the lockups to make sure he doesn't overwork those tires. But I think Mahase just trying to keep it relaxed throughout this whole race. He does have higher RPM putting in a little bit of pressure there. And high RPM who doesn't have any pressure behind of him. Hafrenix who is over 2 seconds behind, so free from the DRS there. So Mahasna who had mentioned that this is high RPM's favorite track, so yeah, we'll see how much he really likes this track, and hopefully he likes it so much he tries to get himself a podium. But looking up at the front, going back to the tires here, and yeah, so the top 4 are doing really well to maintain their positions, having started on the hard compounds. Looks like we have Kion and Gigagoon still battling it out, and Gigagoon looking to make a move on the outside here, but Kion is going to have the DRS, I believe. And actually, no, Gigagoon actually gets it, so he is going to remain ahead, but we do have Omama-shan who has been doing really well to close in right behind of his good French friend Kyle. Oh, looks like in the back, Guardians who has dropped down a couple positions there, has lost out 2 positions to the Williams. And it looks like Untradeable Teammate trying to push out Mahasna from the DRS. Gigagoon still making positions here, having got past Hafrenix, who is struggling a little bit there on the traction, and actually does really well to catch that. And using a little bit of battery there to keep up to the Mercedes. Ooh, and that does appear to be yellow flags, although that seems to be the kick salver of Iparazu there in Sector 1. And so yeah, a little bit of a DRS train right here from first all the way to 5th. High RPM still trying to gain up that gap ahead of 6th place, and that's Gigagoon at the moment. I do see we have yellow flags. That appears to be Buddha, who has dropped down another 2 positions there. But Untradeable Teammate, sorry, Shan actually getting the DRS here and actually getting the move done on Kyle. So Omama Shan now our new race leader. And Untradeable Teammate just remaining right behind of these two, having them in clear sight. Kyle is going to have the DRS, but looks like he's not going to be close enough to make a move yet. Omama Shan, who has used up pretty much the majority of his battery here. And so Mahasne, yeah, just keeping it close from the driver ahead. High RPM in a tough position considering he is on those mediums. And looks like Mahasne having gone a little bit wide right there, but is going to remain ahead of his brother. But yeah, High RPM, who started on those medium tires, has been stuck behind of the DRS train, hasn't been able to get an attack done yet. And so that is not going to be good on those tires. Kyle, who is in a good position here to retake that lead, has to make sure he gets a really good exit and puts the throttle down. And can he get the move done on Omama Shan? And Omama Shan actually pushing far back ahead of Kyle. But Kyle looking to be a little bit of a rocket ship here. Looks like he isn't going to be close enough to make a move. But Mahazne, who looked to be looking for that gap there on the inside of untradeable teammate, not able to get the overtake done. But Buddha, who has now gotten past his teammate Hulkenbro. And oh, that looks like that's going to be a lock up there. And Buddha, who actually does really well to actually avoid getting hit from his teammate. Yeah, it looks like Hulkenbro having overshot that corner just a tad bit. But Buddha having caught that quite early. So yeah, that's close call. And so it looks like what was meant to be a battle between the Alpine and the Williams has more so turned out to be a battle between the two Williams. Just remember the most important rule, and that is don't crash into your teammate. And looks like we have our first penalty of the night. And that's Guardians picking up a 3-second penalty here. Oh, and I do see that is yellow flags. That appears to be Buddha once again, and I do wonder if Buddha is just struggling with the setup here, because that is very strange to see Buddha, yeah, losing out quite a lot in a race. But and he was looking at the top 5 who have been stuck on that DRS train less than a second behind of each other, although HiRPM still maintaining that gap ahead of Gigagoon. And I do see we have a couple of changes happening in the back. Looks like Vroom getting past Buddha as well. Ooh, Kyle a little bit wiggly there on the exit, and it's like untradeable teammate trying to close in a little bit, but not close enough to get an attack here. But he is going to have the DRS on the next upcoming straight. Yeah, the top 5 drivers doing really well to yeah, just keep it consistent. The most important part is just don't make a mistake, because that mistake is definitely going to cost you with how close all these 5 drivers are. And it looks like we do have the battle between here Hafrenix and Keon as well. And so Hafrenix, who might be struggling a little bit there with the medium tires, but looking back here on the front row, we do have Kyle, who's still right behind of Omamashan, does have the DRS and does have plenty of battery here to use, although Omamashan with almost equal battery as well, looking to keep that distance. And so Sean remaining ahead, looking right behind. Looks like HiRPM looking to get a move here on the inside, and actually does get the move done on Mahazne. And so Mahazne moving down into 5th. And so, yeah, as I mentioned, if you are tuning in for the first time or just in the middle of the race, a little bit of a recap in terms of the standings. We have Omamashan, who, Mahazne, who is leading the championship, has a total of 314 points, and 32 points behind, we have Kyle with 280 points. So, yeah, it is going to be quite close. However, considering how this race is going, looks like Mahazne might be actually securing that that championship title, although it is too early to tell. As I mentioned, anything can always happen. And I will say it's looking quite overcast, but according to Garnier, it is going to remain a dry race, and that is actually Omamashan going a tad bit wide right there. And so Kyle stealing away that lead. And so yeah, Kyle trying to get as much points as he can for this race, although as I mentioned, even if Kyle does win and even if he does get those extra 2 points for the fastest lap, Mahasna will be looking to secure that championship win. But looking at the fastest lap, that is actually held at the moment by Untradeable Teammate with a 137.2. And looking at position changes, so Gigagoon, as I expected, highest position changes, and that is 7 positions there. We have High RPM who has gained 4 positions, Untradeable Teammate 2. Our biggest loss for the night, as it's looking like Buddha, who has dropped down 11 positions there. Not exactly sure what happened there on the opening lap. But actually, it looks like Buddha getting the fastest lap on 136.1. And looks like Untradeable Teammate may have actually just taken High RPM out of the DRS range. And he has, so that has actually relieved a little bit of pressure there, has broken a bit of the DRS gap. And looks like Mahasna retaking himself up into 4th. A little bit of a lockup there, but all these drivers doing really well to keep it close and yeah, trying to afford not to make that many mistakes here. But we do have Kian, who has been battling it out with Hafrenix these past 3 laps, and Hafrenix, who I mentioned, does have those 8-lap-old medium tires. Considering how high tire degradation is on this track, I wouldn't be surprised if they're a little bit of a struggle to handle. And looks like High RPM still looking to extend that gap ahead of Gigagoon. And looks like that's opened up from 3 seconds now to 4 seconds. And yeah, tough spot for Gigagoon. He looks like he is having his own race here, considering the drivers ahead are in that DRS train. And I do see Game Boy and Mini Tony talking a little bit about our F1 fantasy. So you know what? I would actually be looking forward to being a little bit focused there on the next season. But looks like we have a couple of penalties coming out. So Untradeable Teammate now having picked up a 3-second penalty. That is 2 drivers. We do have High RPM who has now pulled the trigger to switch over to a fresh set of hard compounds now. And considering he did start on the mediums, yeah, I think about 10, 11 laps to get rid of those mediums sounds about right. Although Gigagoon looking to extend. And Hafrenix as well. And is High RPM going to come out ahead of Guardians? Looks like he is. So yeah, High RPM coming out in P9 at the moment. Hafrenix and Keon still battling it out. And so yeah, those medium tires looking to be dying out quite a bit. So Keon with the 10-lap-old hard compounds getting the overtake down on Hafrenix and now remaining ahead. And it does look like Omama Shan may have pushed out Untradeable Teammate there, who went a little bit wide and yeah, has dropped down to over a second here behind of Omama Shan, who is now looking to get the overtake done on Kyle. And so a little bit of a switch around between these two throughout the race. And right in the back, Mahasna getting the overtake done on Untradeable Teammate. So looks like that little mistake having gone wide may have cost Untradeable Teammate a little bit there. So Kyle with the DRS is closing here on the back of the Alpine, although it looks like he isn't going to look for the move yet. Mahazen, who has them both on his sight, is now less than a second behind of them. So, yeah, curious to know how these three are going to battle it out. They have had quite a bit of a season together. And looks like we do have a couple of other drivers pitting. That is Gigagoon and Hafernix. And I am curious to know if Mahaz is going to just play it safe throughout this whole race or just try getting a bit of battling done. And whoo, that is untradeable teammate almost losing the car. And what a heck of a catch. Jeez. Oh man, untradeable teammate giving a little bit of a heart attack. It does seem to be struggling. Does he have any damage with the way he's trying to turn? We'll take a quick yeah, no, looks like no, his car is definitely still intact. It looks like he is struggling quite a bit with the tire degradation there, but looks like Omama Shan remaining ahead. And yeah, I thought for a second that Kyle was gonna make a switchback, and looks like no, Omama Shan remaining ahead. I do see Gigagoon having gotten an overtake done there on Guardians. So Gigagoon with the fresh set of hard compounds, and Hulkenbro actually getting overtaken by higher PM now. So yeah, higher PM with the fresh set of hard compounds, comfortably getting the overtake done on the Williams there. And so yeah, the top four remaining quite close behind top five who haven't pit yet. And we do have Kyle, who is going to have the DRS here right behind of Omama Shan, who is draining that battery to try to defend that position. Although, can Kyle get the overtake done here? No, he's going to stay right behind of the Alpine. And Mahasna just taking a little bit of a sniff on Kyle's gearbox. And so, if I'm not mistaken, Sean actually hasn't won a race this whole season. So, yeah, look, as I mentioned, he did say he had a couple plans for this race, and looks like he is going to be trying to get that win for the season. We do have Kyle, who, taking a quick look at his podium runs, has been actually on the podium 6 times this season, from what I'm looking at. Yeah, 6 times. So yeah, phenomenal job from Kyle. Kyle, who actually has 4 wins as well, has yeah, as I mentioned, even though he did miss a race, he did retire in another race. Has done really well to actually try contesting for this championship. And looking at Mahasne, who has actually won in 4 races as well. So Mahasne, who's been quite consistent this whole race, has only missed out on one race, and I do believe his has actually finished in the top 5 this whole season as well. Actually, both the drivers, Kyle and Mahasne. So yeah, I think well-deserved championship battle. These two have done really well, and including Sean as well. But I think Kyle and Mahazen really standing out a little bit more this season. And it looks like we do have the other McLaren entering the pit lane. So Keon switching out of those 13-lap-old hard compounds. And I also do want to give a little bit of a shout out to Buddha, who he was leading the championship for 1 week. Unfortunately, the following week he did get EA with the game disqualifying him during a race unfairly. I will add, but yeah, Buddha, who has done really well this season. Hopefully next season we can see him for the battle for the championship as well. But looks like we do have Mahasna now closing in a little bit more right on the back of Kyle. Ooh, we have a little bit of a snap right there, and that may have actually given a little bit of a breather for the Ferrari there, and for untradeable teammate who's looking to get the move on the inside and does get the move done. Although Mahasna, who is also going to have the DRS, looking to get the position back, and he is going to remain now ahead of untradeable teammate. So it was a good try for untradeable teammate. Unfortunately, there for the DRS that Mahasna had. And so we are halfway through the race, and we do now have Mahasna at the top, out of the top four, pulling the trigger and switching out of those 15-lap-old hard compounds. I do wonder how this undercut is going to work in terms of coming out ahead of Kyle and Omar Mashal when they pit. And looking at the back, we do have Keon, who gets the overtake done there on Buddha. So Buddha, who's been having a little bit of an unfortunate race now with the 8-lap-old medium. So Keon with the fresh set of mediums getting the overtake done nice and easily. And so it looks like Mahasna is going to come out ahead of Gigagoon by over 3 seconds there. And I'm curious to know how Omar Mashan and Kyle are going to react, if they're going to try extending those hard compounds for another couple of laps, or if they're going to pit now. And so Kyle, who is looking much, much closer here and is going to be looking to get the overtake done. Oh, very close for comfort, those two tires. But Kyle now leading the race, having overtaken the Alpine. And so, yes, as I mentioned, a little bit of a switch around this whole race between these two in terms of the race leader, who both of them struggling a little bit there on the exit. And looks like they are both going to be entering the pit lane now. And yeah, we've seen quite a few drivers actually going a tad bit wide entering the pit lane. And it looks like Untradeable Teammate is going to be following them as well. And so it looks like a couple of the gaps have opened up in terms of the mid pack, and looks like we are going to have High RPM, who is going to get the racing lead now. So comes out ahead of Mahasnet, and looking at the gap, about 2.5 seconds. Oh, and I do see we have yellow flags. That appears to be Parazu, who has a little bit of grass on the tires, getting the side job of the gardener. And so Mahasna, who is actually now over 2 seconds ahead of Kyle. So looks like the undercut did work for Mahasna. I do wonder if those 1 lap younger tires that Kyle and Omar Shan have is going to make a difference. But yeah, just a matter of pace now and tire management all the way to the end. And Iparazu picking up a 10-second penalty there for speeding in the pit lane. So we do have 3 drivers now with penalties. That is Untradeable Teammate and Guardian still with the 3 seconds. And as I mentioned, Iparazu with the 10 seconds. But considering he is currently in 13th, it looks like that's not going to make much of a difference. But looking up ahead, Mahazne, who is closing in on high RPM with those fresh set of medium tires. And Mahazne, who gets the fastest lap as well at 135.8. And for those who are watching for the first time, that is an extra 2 points there for the fastest lap within the top 10. And yes, I did notice that Game Boy mentioned something also important. So just a big reminder, our Tier 2 championship winner does move up to Tier 1. And I think, yeah, Mahazan would actually fit in quite well from what I've seen. And a few others as well. But yes, that does open the door for newcomers as well, those who are trying to learn no traction control. We do have a couple drivers who are joining in who are fresh on the terms of the assist environment and the racing league environment. So yeah, and we will be promoting a little bit more, so we will be getting a few more drivers as well. But anyways, looking at the top drivers, so we have higher PM trying to put the defense here on Mahazna, but Mahazna has gotten the overtake done on the McLaren and now is our new race leader. So yeah, Mahazna with a little bit of a gap there of over a second. Let's just take a look at the interval there. So yeah, over a second and a half ahead of Kyle, his rival here for the championship. And looks like we do have Omama Shan, who has taken the fastest lap on 135.4 now. And so yeah, so Bozo actually sounds like I'm just calling anybody Bozo. Bozo, our driver name. Yes, that will give you an opening for possibly a win for next season. Yeah, it gives you a little bit more of a breather. Well, let's see. So higher PM now having Kyle and Omamashan right behind of him. And it looks like Mahazan trying to extend that gap ahead of higher PM now over a second. So yeah, trying to get that comfortable gap ahead of Kyle. Although as it stands, even if Kyle does win, yeah, Mahazan is going to be looking to be our championship winner. Well, it looks like we do have Kyle now getting the overtake done on high RPM. Omamashan almost there alongside, and looks like he is alongside. And so high RPM trying to defend that position, and ooh, a little bit of bumper guards there, but looks like Omamashan with another opportunity here does have the DRS. And looking to make a move on the inside and does get the move done. And so yeah, just a little bit of contact right there between these two, although it looks like no harm, no foul. Omamashan now over 2 seconds behind of Kyle, having been caught up with that battle with higher PM. And so Kyle, who is now less than a second behind of Mahazne. And we do have 9 laps remaining, including this one. And Kyle is going to have the DRS here on this next upcoming straight. So looking to retake that lead. Although it doesn't look like Kyle's going to be close enough. Although is he going to actually be able to make a move here on the inside? And ooh, a little bit of a lockup right there, but looks like both of these drivers trying to navigate that corner alongside, doing really well. And so Kyle with a really incredible overtake right there on the inside gets the move done on Mahazne. And so Kyle retaking the lead, and Mahasnet now following right behind with the Ferrari. Does have a really good gap ahead of Omamashan, over 2 seconds. And so, yeah, Mahasnet. Oof, it looks like we do have a little bit of contact between these two, although if I were Mahasnet, I'd probably just keep it safe, considering, yeah, as long as you finish the race, you will be the championship, the champion of this tier. And looking at the penalties, I do believe Guardians would probably be the only driver impacted by his own penalties. So yeah, untradeable teammate who has done really well to maintain that gap ahead of Gigagoon, now over 7 seconds. But Broom, who is behind of Guardians and actually has just gotten the overtake done on the Alpine, moving himself up to 11th. And looking up ahead, Mahasnet trying to get the overtake done here on Kyle, is going to have the DRS here. So just has to make sure he gets the throttle down, and so both of the drivers trying to deploy that battery to get that position, but yeah, Kyle keeping the position. Can he keep it? Mahasnet closing in, and looks like, no, not able to make a move there. And looks like Omamashan has actually closed in as well, so Omamashan joining the battle. Now less than a second behind of the Haas, and he is going to have the DRS, so that is going to pull him a little bit closer there. Ooh, and that is a little bit of a lockup there from the Haas, but that doesn't look like it's going to have any impact there, so Omamashan remaining right behind. And I am keeping an eye on the delta here between the McLaren of Keon and the Aston Martin of Hafernick. So Keon with the 7-lap-old medium tires, Hafernick's the 10-lap-old hard compounds. And I will say, yeah, big shout out to Keon, who has done an incredible job this whole season. And as I say that, Omamashan actually, not exactly sure if there was contact or having a bit of a spin there and losing quite a few positions. So now dropping down into 5th. And looks like he has picked up damage, does have a missing left end plate. So curious to know what exactly happened there. It's fortunate we did miss it, but yeah, Omamashan, who does have that missing end plate, I do wonder if he's going to choose to pit and just try to steal away that fast lap, although I do think that is still held by him. It is. And looks like, yep, he is going to be entering the pit and unable to turn, and so doesn't look like that is going to bring out a safety car. So yeah, luckily. But that is going to bring out a virtual safety car. So yeah, the driver's having to make sure to stay within that delta, because you don't want to get that drive-through penalty. And I see Game Boy giving the skull face. Yeah, that was quite of a horrific hit. Yeah, so very unfortunate there for Omamashan. I do hope that they did fix his wing, and they did. Because unfortunately, when you do dive into the pit without letting them know, they don't change it. Even though you would think logically, yeah, I do wanna fix the wing. And so we do have green flags now, and we do have Mahasnet, who is right behind of Kyle. And he is going to have the DRS. We do have a lapped car right ahead, but I don't think they're close enough to interfere here, but looks like Mahazen trying to get the move done here on the outside, and oof, looks like Kyle is going to keep the position right there. And so this has freed up a little bit of pressure here as well for Mahazen, who did have Omama Shan right behind him. And Omama Shan picking up a 3-second penalty, and I did see the kick saber moving to the side there, and we do appreciate having gone out of the way, even if it is ghosting. Of course, we do have some drivers who do race in cockpit view, so it's always great to get out the way of the racing line so that they can actually see where they're going. And so yeah, we have 5 laps remaining, and it is looking like this is going to be a championship win for Mahasne, who has honestly been incredible this whole season. And yeah, I think a well-deserved championship if it does end like this. But of course, we do have 4 laps remaining, and as I said, as long as Mahasne finishes the line and scores points, he will be securing that championship. But as I mentioned, that is as long as he crosses the line and hopefully doesn't retire. And that's in hopes of no championship, no commentator's curse. But we do have Mahasne, who is still closing in right on the back of Kyle, and looks like he is not going to be close enough to get the overtake there. Although Kyle having a little bit of a lockup, but Mahasne is still unable to make a move. And we do have another gap closing, and that is Keon on the back of Buddha, who looks like his main rival for today has pretty much been his teammate. And you know what, Game Boy, since I know you're watching, I will give you a little bit of a homework. If you can actually tell me in terms of the constructors' points between the Williams and the Haas team, or actually even the Alpine team as well. But it looks like Buddha is going to get the overtake done there on his teammate, and Kian sniffing the rear there on Hulkenbro. And a really tricky corner to go alongside, and looks like Keon is going to choose to back out right there, braking earlier. And unfortunately, with not enough battery in the tank to get an overtake done, but looking up ahead, we do have Mahasne, who is still right on the tail of Kyle. And yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, I do believe the Williams team would most likely be securing a constructor's title, but I don't want to say anything now, considering my math isn't always the best. But we do have Mahasne now closing in on the back of Kyle, and he's going to try and making a move there on the outside. And can he get the move to stick? And looks like Kyle is still trying to defend that position. I did see a little bit of contact. But we are now in the final laps of the race, and it looks like Game Boy is doing the math for me. So, so I'm guessing as it stands, both the Haas and the Williams team will be scoring 30 points. And yeah, that would actually lock in a constructor's title for the Williams team. Omama Shan going even faster than his previous fastest lap, and Gigagoon actually stealing that. So 134.2 there from Gigagoon to secure fastest lap. So both the drivers on the soft set of tires, Gigagoon with 1 lap younger softs. So it looks like we still have a couple of gaps that have closed in. We do have Gigagoon now getting the overtake done here on the as I say, on the Hafrenix, on the Aston Martin of Hafrenix, who has been out with the 14-lap-old hard compounds. And honestly, I will say Happiness has done an incredible job this whole race. Has given Keon a little bit of a battle there throughout a couple of laps. And so we are currently on the penultimate lap. We still have quite a number of battles still going. So Untradeable Teammate, who has gotten now the overtake done on higher PM and looks like has gone a little bit wide. And so higher PM stealing back that position. And Untradeable Teammate does have that 3-second penalty as well. So yeah, even if he does get that position, he might lose it at the end. But of course, we never know. We do have our drivers. Our drivers do have the opportunity to appeal any track limit penalties if they deem it unfairly. But yeah, looks like just winning on the track would probably be important as well. But let's see, looking up ahead, Mahasne, who has still remained right on the tail of Kyle, and yeah, Mahasne, who has no pressure right behind him. High RPM over 9 seconds behind. And so according to our mathematician Game Boy, so so Alpine would actually have 33 extra points, including with the fastest lap, and would actually come short from the Haas, who would be in P2, having who is looking to score 30 points here at the moment. Although, still there's still that battle with Kyle, and whoa, that is a little bit of rear contact there from between the Haas and the Ferrari there, but looks like no harm, no foul. And we are currently on the final lap of this race of the season. And if you are just tuning in, as I mentioned earlier, the championship is between these two drivers, although Mahasne, who does have that 34-point gap lead, is looking to secure that constructor's win. And there's a little bit of a battle here in the back as well between third and fourth, and that's High RPM and Untradeable Teammate. Although Untradeable Teammate does have that 3-second penalty, so that might, as I mentioned before, impact him there at the end. But we are now heading into the final DRS straight, and will Mahasne look to make a move here before the finish line? And a little bit of a wiggle right there on the exit, but looks like both the drivers with plenty of battery to use, and so Kyle deploying it all the way, and it looks like he is going to remain ahead of the Haas, who is just not close enough to get an attack there. And oh, I do see we have yellow flags. That appears to be higher RPM having gone off track, but looks like that is actually going to help Untradeable Teammate, considering he does have that 3-second penalty. But Kyle is going to cross the line for the win, the final win of the season. Mahasne crossing second, not only second, but also gaining the chance to now say that he is a Tier 2 champion. And Untradeable Teammate crossing the line for third, even with the 3-second penalty. He does have, looks like that mistake from High RPM did cost him a bit. High RPM, who is pitting, and looks like might actually have Omama Shan cross him there. And yeah, High RPM, who was reserving for today, looks like he was just looking to get the chance to race here on one of his favorite tracks in China. And actually, no, Omama Shan finishing right behind, actually. I take that back. And so we are just waiting for a couple of our drivers to pass the line. Oh, it looks like actually Gigagoon was saying that he was losing connection a couple times throughout the race. So very unfortunate there if that was the case. Uh, let's see. We are just waiting here for Guardians to cross the line, and that is going to be our last driver to cross the line for the season. And so, yeah, I will say, even though it was a small grid, there was still plenty of action happening. And we will just wait for the final race results to show up. Alrighty, and so for the win, for the last win of the season, we have Kyle, who started on pole position, got the win, did an incredible job to keep the pace throughout this whole race, even with having a bit of pressure from Mahasna and Sean. But sharing the podium along with him, we have Mahasna in second. And mega congratulations to Mahasna for also winning the championship. Has been incredible this whole season. And yeah, I think well deserved from his performance, I think. And in third, we have Untradeable Teammate, who, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is his second or third podium of the season. So another driver who is always up in the front and does a phenomenal job to, yeah, I think stay out of trouble, honestly. In fourth, we have High RPM. Fifth, Omama Shan. Gigagoon 6 with the extra 2 points for the fastest lap of 134.2. In seventh, we have Hafrenix, Buddha 8th, Keon 9th, Hulkenberg 10th, Vroom 11th, Guardians 12th, and Iparazu 13th. And I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to Keon, who did an incredible job on his debut. Actually gave us quite a few battles to watch. And so, yeah, looking forward to seeing him in the next season. Hopefully he's able to join in full time if he can. If not, we always welcome reserves. But yeah, honestly, was an incredible performance. I think Kyle would have been even much closer if he hadn't. I think he missed the Australia race, if I'm not mistaken, or retired on that race. Um, yeah, I think he definitely did have a chance for another uh, for a battle there for the title. I think last season as well he did have. Actually, yeah, Kyle's actually yeah second time in a row he's been the in second place for the standings. Uh, yeah, very unfortunate for him. Just a little bit unlucky, but yeah, incredible performance from all the drivers throughout this whole season. As I mentioned, we do appreciate all the time and effort you put into to participate in our races. And yeah, we're looking forward to the next season. As I mentioned, that is going to be on March 2nd. So if you are interested, then of course sign up and we'll get you guys set up. But yeah, we do have our division, our Gnosis Division 1 group that will be racing in about an hour and 5 minutes. So yeah, stay tuned, like and subscribe so you could get the notification when we're live. I do think that's also going to be a small group considering they already have their champion since last week. So yeah, pretty much that. But yeah, big thanks to all our viewers. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next race.